As a Potterhead, I'm not ready to take another trip down the Diagon Alley, at least not with the new HBO TV series. Not with a reboot, not with a new cast, and not with a retelling that feels unnecessary. In an era where reboots and remakes have become the industry's safest bet, it was perhaps only a matter of time before HBO decided to revisit Harry Potter. But just because something can be remade doesn't mean it should be. Some stories are timeless not because they need to be retold, but because they were told right in the first time. For many who grew up with Harry Potter, it wasn't just a film series. It was a companion through childhood and adolescence. The films based on JK Rowling's best-selling books weren't perfect. They couldn't capture everything, but they didn't need to. They captured something far more important, which is a feeling. And that feeling is hard to recreate. As a teenager, certain dialogues hit differently. As an adult, they evolve with you. For example, Albus Dumbledore in Deathly Hallows Part 2 says, "Don't pity the dead, Harry. Pity the living. And above all, those who live without love." At 15, it sounded okayish to me. Years later, it feels personal. Another example is Severus Snape. His arc as a one-sided lover, his quiet protection for Harry, and the way he remained one of the most misunderstood characters in the story remain the soul of the books and my favorite character. And that line, "after all this time, always," still lingers. Alan Rickman embodied the character. His performance felt almost impossible to separate from the character itself. Sure, Papa Isidio will bring his own interpretation to the role in the HBO series, perhaps even adding new layers. But for many fans, there is only one Severus Snape, and it will always be Rickman. Now don't get me wrong, I have nothing against the star cast. A reboot, especially one that arrives barely a decade and a half after the original films ended, risks flattening that emotional history. It asks the audience to detach from faces, voices, and moments they have grown up with and replace them with the new ones without giving them a compelling reason to do so. Yes, the argument is that a series format follows far more deeper storytelling. More time, more detail, more faithfulness to the books. And on paper, that sounds appealing. After all, the films did have to leave things out. Entire subplots, character arcs, and nuances were trimmed to fit the theatrical runtime. But completeness does not always equal impact. Now, I have nothing against the new star cast. Ever since the project was announced, the cast has been getting a lot of backlash, Esidio being the latest one to get death threats. The actors are simply doing their job, taking on an opportunity of a lifetime. The pressure on them will be immense, not because of their performance, but because of the never-ending comparisons. Every expression, every line delivery, every scene will be measured against what came before. That's not a fair starting point for any actor, and they don't deserve this hate. Now, of course, the reboot will find its audience. It will trend, it will be watched, it will be hate-watched, and it will likely be dissected frame by frame. But popularity doesn't automatically justify existence. Because some stories are not just content, they are memories, emotions, and they belong to a specific time, a specific generation, and a specific emotional journey. And for many, Harry Potter is exactly that. A reboot may recreate the plot, it may even improve on technical aspects, but it cannot recreate the feeling of discovering Hogwarts for the first time, of growing up alongside its characters, of finding pieces of yourself in its story. That kind of magic doesn't come from retelling. Thank you for watching and follow for more.